Hello crafty friends, this is the Papered Chef here. In today's tutorial, you are going to learn how to create a gift box using the Template Maker website, Canvas Workspace, and your brother ScanNCut. First, I'd like to give a shout out to Helen P., who is one of my YouTube viewers and subscribers. Helen said, I have a suggestion for different boxes. And have you already discovered my favorite website? I love the free box templates at this website, www.templatemaker.nl/en. And actually, Helen, I had not discovered this website until you mentioned it. I went on an exploration. I've cut out several types of gift boxes since then, gift boxes, boxes with lids, and other things, and I absolutely love this website as well, and it has become my favorite website. Not just yours. So thank you, Helen P., for this great suggestion that I can share with my crafty friends. And I will have this linked in the description, and I'll have it linked in the comments, and you can just type in what you see here. So after you type this in, you're going to get to this website. This is amazing. Look at all the different types of templates you can create, the box templates. Not only that, these are customizable. As a person who has created their own gift boxes for many years using scoreboards, someone who created their own envelopes using punch boards, all kinds of techniques in software, I really appreciate the time saver this is, where I don't have to design my boxes anymore. They are designed for me and customizable. So I'm going to click on gift box. Okay, and to make it full screen, I'm going to click on the gift box graphic here in the middle. Now you can see the settings that you can customize. The first thing I've been doing when I've customized the boxes I've been designing is I have changed my units to inches because my machine is set to inches, my ScanNCut, I think in inches because I'm in America, but you can of course leave the units to the way you want them. I'm just going to change it to inches, and most of my crafty friends that watch this channel will probably be doing the same. The other thing I want to mention is I'm using the Night Before Christmas Designer Series paper by Stampin' Up. This paper is 6 inches. So the next thing I'm going to do is customize this template so that my box, the little treat box I create, this little gift box, it will fit on a 6x6 piece of paper. So next I'll change the paper size, and I'll change the width and height, and I'll make the margin 0. All of the settings I'm using will be included in the description of this video and on my blog at thepaperedchef.com. So now we're going to change the length, width, height. Actually, we can leave it 2 inches wide. We're going to change the length. We're going to change the width and height to 1.25. Okay, I have changed the length to 2 inches. Well, it was already set to 2 inches, but my length is 2 inches. My width is 1.25 inches, and my height is 1.25 inches. As you can see from the preview on the right, this is all going to fit into my 6x6 inch template, and that therefore it will cut on my piece of Designer Series paper. One more thing I did based on experimentation is I created a smaller hole for the thumb. Because the box is only 2 inches long, I didn't want the thumb hole to be 1 inch. I made it a 1/2 inch instead. I will point out the thumb hole before I change the value. Okay, so now I have a smaller thumb hole. They are the only values I needed to change for this particular template. When you're all finished customizing your box, you're going to scroll down to the Create button. You can create a PDF that you could then print out, and you could then cut that going old school, or scan and cut that template if you are not comfortable using the software, the Canvas Workspace software I'm going to show you. Okay, but I'm going to be using an SVG format. That's what I'm downloading. SVG is a scalable vector graphic. It is a file that's compatible with our ScanNCut. We can directly import SVGs into our ScanNCut software called Canvas Workspace. But I must point out that at this point, if you're not using any software whatsoever, and you just go ahead and create this SVG file, you can put it on a thumb drive. You can put it on your machine right now, and you can cut it. Personally, I need to be able to see what was created for me. I need to use the software, and do some more customization. So therefore, I'm going to be importing this into Canvas Workspace. But for you, you can take the SVG, transfer it right to your machine via USB cable, or you can use a thumb drive or USB stick to get this file onto your machine. I'm personally going to use Canvas Workspace and the wireless transfer method. After you select SVG, click the Create button. The file was created for me, and it's going to just be ready to download. I'm just going to hit the little, you can't see it, but at the bottom of it depends on which browser you're using. If you're using Google Chrome, when I use Google Chrome to do this, the file just automatically saved right to my downloads without me even hitting this download button. But when I'm using this right now, I think I'm using Internet Explorer, or I'm not really sure which browser I'm using, to tell you the truth, or Edge. I could be using Edge, but in this case, I did have to click the save button that appeared below. It's not being recorded right now, but there is a little save button if you're using Internet Explorer. Bottom line is, you're going to go into your downloads. You're going to go into your downloads folder of your computer. I'm using a PC, so I'm going to go into my downloads folder. This is just opening up in a browser. This gets to show you what was created for us. But now I'm going to go into my downloads folder. I'll bring that into view so you can see that. So here in my downloads folder of my computer, there is the template. Now again, if you just want to transfer this to your machine, right click on it, put it on a thumb drive, move it to your machine. Personally, I'm going to use Canvas Workspace. So now let's do that. Let's go to Canvas. Here we go. Okay, I can't talk while the computer's processing something, or my voice gets jumbled, so I had to pause there. But okay, I went to canvasworkspace.brother.com, and you can just do that and use the links again in my description of this video or in the comments. You don't have to type all of these addresses in. Bottom line, you're going to do what I've shown in my courses and my other tutorials. You're going to log into your account, and after it says your name, mine is Papered Chef over here, and you've connected your machine wirelessly, which I know most of my crafty friends have, you can transfer files back and forth from your machine to your software, vice versa. So click on a new project inside Canvas Workspace. Once you have a new blank project, you're going to click on the SVG button. That's how you're going to import the SVG box file. I'm going to my downloads where the file was just saved. Select the gift box file. Notice the way that the template creator saved the file is based on the dimensions of my box. So my dimensions were 2 by 1.25 by 1.25, and that's how it named the box, which I love because it makes me remember what my dimensions were. Click the Open button and then click OK. Don't worry that you get this error message. Every single time I have imported one of these SVG files from this template maker, I receive this error message, and really, it didn't mean a darn thing. My box cut out just fine. Click OK. Now, I told you I like to do further customization, and that's based on the fact that I can barely even see this box because of some of the settings. So let's zoom in so I can show you what I mean. There are cutting lines and there are scoring lines in this box, meaning there are cutting lines which will cut out solid, and there are scoring lines which will cut out dashed. I need to mention a couple things here. I need to be able to see my cutting lines as solid lines. If I see a dashed line, that to me means a scoring line. So the first thing I did when I got this template is, before I even grouped the two layers together, I took it and I made my cutting lines into solid lines. Let me show you how to do that. And I'm also going to pull the parts, I'm going to pull the sections of this box apart. We'll put them back together in a minute so that you can see what we're doing better. To the right, I have the outer part of the box. I'm going to take the dashed line and I'm going to make it, it's already a cutting line, I'm going to make it a solid line so that I know when I keep reusing this template that the solid line is a cutting line. So click on the box once and then go to Properties. Under Color, under Line Style, I created a black line. If you didn't do this, it would have still cut out for you just fine. You don't need to do all these extra steps, but it's a really good practice to get into. The next thing I want to do is change the style of dashed lines. Dashed lines are scored lines. That's how Brother scores things. However, these dashes are a little bit too big for me because the box is so small. When I use giant perforated lines, my box almost fell apart on me. I like to use the tiny dashes. I'll show you what I mean by selecting all of the rest of the shapes, and then I'm going to change the type of dash line. So under Properties, I'm going to select the dash pattern, the second dash pattern, or the second pattern. The first pattern, if you select, is a cutting line. The second pattern is a dash line. The third line would also work as well, the third style. After I close the properties, and while everything is still selected, I want to group all of these lines because then I can move the score lines around this one object and I can move the cutting lines around this one object. And later I'll group them both, but let's first group this set of score lines. I went to Edit and I went to Group. Now let's align the box to the score lines. I'm dragging my mouse around both the outer box and the inner score lines, and I'm going to go up to Edit and I'm going to align them. Notice I can only align them vertically because the horizontally I'm still going to need to zoom in and align that via just eyeballing that part. I didn't have to take them apart. I could have grouped them when I first brought them into my ScanNCut or my Canvas software, but I wanted to do some editing, and that's why they became unaligned. They did start out aligned, just so my crafty friends understand. I'm going to select the outer box. So just so you know what I'm doing, I am nudging. I'm moving the arrow keys on my keyboard to make sure this is perfectly aligned, and then I'll group the two and I'll have a box. Now the outer and inner parts are aligned. I'm going to I'm going to select them with my mouse and group them. Okay. Now I can move the inner score lines and the outer cutting lines around as one file. At this point, I just want to mention you can go ahead and create 4 boxes. If you're using 6x6 Designer Series paper, you could put 4 boxes on the mat. Let's just show you how that would be done. Select the box and go to Edit, and then click Duplicate. Notice how I used duplicate 3 times, and now I can cut out 4 boxes at once, and I'll still have lots of scraps of the Night Before Christmas Designer Series paper left over for other projects. All 4 boxes will fit on the mat. The red margins let me know where the cutting areas are, so you don't cut out too close to the edge of the mat. I used my arrow keys once again, just so the boxes were not very close together. Now in the next part of this tutorial, I will be going to my machine where we will cut these out. But first, a couple more things to note. Inside Canvas Workspace, if you plan on using this template again and again and again, without needing to go back to the template maker website, then it's good to save this project. So now I want to show you how to save this project onto your Canvas Workspace account. Mine is the Papered Chef. Yours is whatever you named your account. I'm saving the project over here by giving it a title. I'm just giving it a title, Gift Box 2-inch. So now it's saved, and I'm going to click on Overwrite this project. Overwriting is when you're saving a project. That's the jargon to use for saving. It's called Overwrite this project. Now, every time you make any change, be sure to overwrite your project so that you save the most current update. Okay, I clicked OK. I'm back to the screen. At this point, we are going to download the project onto our machine. My machine, Papered Chef, is associated, or my account, Papered Chef, I should say. My account, Papered Chef, is associated with my machine. I have done other tutorials on how to associate your machine. So use my wireless setup tutorials, which will be linked in the description if you've never set up your wireless network on your machine. I'm going to click download. Don't worry about this error message either. Lots of experimentation, it means nothing. It's saying some objects are going to be removed, and they really didn't remove anything. So just click OK. Ignore that message. You want to select download, or you want to select Scan and Cut Transfer so that we can transfer this file wirelessly. And of course, you could also download it to your PC. You could also download it to a thumb drive, but we're just going to transfer it wirelessly. That is the easiest, by far, easiest way. So we clicked on Scan and Cut Transfer. And now it's showing that the file is ready to be retrieved on your machine. And it even gives you a little hint on how to do that on your CM350 and what the icon looks like. But I'm going to be retrieving it. Let me move this up. I'm retrieving it on my SDX 125, which is very similar. So bottom line is, now that you've created your box, you've created your template, used gift box template, a template maker, you've created your box, you've done some editing, you've transferred it. Now you're ready to just cut it. So that's what we're going to do in the next part of this tutorial. Before I meet you back at the Scan and Cut machine, I just wanted to mention that if you like what you see on this website, then it's good to support the programmer, the artist, the creator. You can scroll down and you will see the Buy Me a Coffee button. I clicked on this button to support the artist, and it was only €3, which came out to $3.49, and I was able to use my PayPal. I like to support other crafty friends. This site is awesome. I'm not affiliated at all. I just know, as a fellow creator, how much effort and time it takes to be able to share things for freely. And so it's good to support these small business owners so that they can continue to make things that make your life easier and make your life much more simplified. So if you can afford it, buy them a cup of coffee. Thank you. Welcome back. In this section of the video, I will show you how to cut out your gift boxes using the Night Before Christmas Designer Series paper. I'm going to just show you this stack of paper, and then we'll pick 4 of them and we'll cut out some boxes. Okay, so these are double-sided papers, and the reason I chose this paper is I have a lot of it. I like the coordinating colors, and it just seems like tiny boxes are in this year. Well, they're always in. I mean, who doesn't like a little box of candy? I give little random boxes of candy out, to waiters or waitresses at the restaurant, or to someone who washes your car. I carry them around with me in my purse, and I also use them as stocking stuffers in care packages. Okay, this is a good one. I'm going to definitely use this one. The smaller the pattern, the better. But this one here, this piece here, I have on top. I'm not going to use this piece because this piece is great for my backgrounds. I've been using it to make snow globes and things. It makes a nice dark scene. I've been using it for other things. So I won't use this piece here. On the back of it is some crushed curry. And by the way, we have Mossy Meadow, Old Olive, I believe Night of Navy, crushed curry, cherry cobbler, poppy parade. What else do we have in there? Did I say? Oh, very vanilla is a coordinating color. Pretty peacock, I think I might have said. Pretty peacock. So there's lots of coordinating colors here. This is a good one too. This is good for making boxes. Even the little stockings. Okay, so what I need to do is put 4 pieces of paper. Not this one. Oops, I restuck my mat recently. Not this one because I need to save it for backgrounds. But I'm going to put 4 pieces of 6x6 Designer Series paper onto my mat. Now, if you recall, I did a doggy treat video. I just thought about that, and I showed how to make doggy treats. We put the little, we used this piece here. We cut out the hats. When I did a video on cutting out pattern paper with the Scan and Cut, I showed you how to cut out these hats, and then I showed it again when we made the doggy treats. This one's okay. I'm just seeing if I find one with a little bit smaller of a pattern. Well, this one's pretty, yeah, this one came out pretty nice last time when I did it. You could see Santa, you could see the little deer. All right, so what you do is you put your 4 pieces of paper onto your mat, and it doesn't matter if you're using whatever ScanNCut you're using, because you can transfer the images wirelessly to your machine. Oops, sorry for the squeaking noise. And once you transfer them wirelessly, the only difference is I'm going to cut it out right now with the STX 125. But of course, if you're using a CM350, then you would just do the same thing, but you're going to have to set your blade depth, and I don't have to set my blade depth because I have auto blade. So when you do cut designer series paper on other machines where you have to set your blade depth, you would use a blade depth of 3 for this designer series paper by Stampin' Up. What I'm going to do is go ahead and load the mat. And those of you that are new to the ScanNCut, I need to show you what I mean by the fact that I have an auto blade. See, I don't have to set my blade depth. With the STX 125, the model I'm using, see, it doesn't have any numbers on it. I don't have to set the blade depth. It's automatic. But for you, those of you using other models where you have to set the blade depth, like these ScanNCut 2, the CM models, I guess anything but the STX models, you're going to have to use a blade depth of 3. All right, so here we are. We've loaded our mat. You've seen the designer series paper we're using. We're ready to go. We need to retrieve the data. Retrieve the data. And we're going to retrieve it from, remember I told you when we were using the software that you could retrieve it from a thumb drive or a USB from the computer directly, from the memory of the machine. But in this case, because I did a ScanNCut wireless transfer, and I think that's the easiest method, I'm going to use this button here, top right, which is retrieving the file from Canvas Workspace. The last file that you worked on is the one that you're retrieving. You can only send your machine 1 file at a time. And I could have duplicated. I could have done 1 box, and then I could have came onto the machine, and I've shown this before on my channel. We could have edited and made 4 boxes here on the machine itself, but I just find it easier to do in Canvas Workspace. That's all we need to do is say, okay, there are the 4 boxes that we're going to cut out. We say, okay. And we just select cut. And all you're going to do is make sure, if you want, actually go back. If you want to do anything like, if you want to edit these, meaning one thing you could do is put them closer to the edges. Canvas Workspace is not as forgiving as the machine itself. So in other words, I'm in the machine itself. I can actually move it closer to the margin than I could have if I was in the software. And I do like to do that a little bit. I like to move the things closer to the margins because the machine is more forgiving, and that gives me more scraps. I can use the scraps on the right side. I can make bookmarks and other tags and all kinds of things as long as these cut out to the edges. Anyway, we just say okay, we select cut, and it's just going to do its thing and it's going to cut. Why does it take 15 minutes, right? Well, the reason it takes 15 minutes is because it's going to cut all of those score lines. Okay, so it's going to cut the score lines. And it's going to cut the outer lines. And that's why it's going to take a while. But you can go about your business as long as you have a sticky mat, and you don't have to sit there and rub the mat like I'm used to doing, like rubbing the mat all the time to keep the paper from slipping. If your mat is sticky enough, you can walk away from this job and let it happen. So I will see you in 15 minutes, where then I will show you all my projects, and you get to see assembled boxes of a couple different styles I used with the template maker software that we found online. See you in a little while. We are finished cutting our gift boxes. Now we're going to say okay, we're going to unload the mat, and then I can push the machine away and show you how to assemble the boxes and remove them from the mat. And once you see all the little score lines, you're going to say, okay, I can understand why we like this template maker because it does a lot of work for you that would be very time consuming for you to do yourself. So I'm just peeling the excess paper away. See, the closer you move it to the side of the mats, the more scraps you have for other purposes. And then I'm just putting my little spatula under there, and I'm going to just remove the little box. As I mentioned, I restuck my boxes recently. I mean, not restuck my boxes. Oh, I'm not being silly. I didn't do that on purpose. I restuck my mat recently, and now my box is sticking on there pretty well. I have videos on how to restick your mat. So for the purposes of this tutorial, let's not remove all 4 boxes from the mat. We're going to just remove 1 to give you the idea. So then, since I'm using double-sided paper, you're going to decide which side's the front, which side's the back. I like these little Santa hats. Rather than that being the outside, I want the Santa hats to be the outside. So you just fold along all the score lines. The score lines being dashed lines. And you're going to take all the small flaps in this particular type of box. Now every box is put together slightly differently. But for this particular box, the first time I tried to put it together, I put glue on every flap, and these top flaps don't get glued. They go like this. So don't put glue on the top flaps. Only put it on the 4 little flaps. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I mean. Let's grab some tacky glue. I'm just using tacky glue. Use whatever adhesive you like using. Okay, so I'm just going to put it on this couple flaps for now, just to tuck it in, hold it for a second. Hold it for a second. I do 2 flaps at a time. Okay, I do the two back flaps. It just works for me. And then one of my little tricks, if you have a lot of things to glue, sometimes I use little clothespins to hold them together while they dry. But the reason I like, this kind of glue is just because it dries so quickly. If you hold it for a couple seconds, it dries. So I'm sticking the little flaps in there and putting my fingers in there. Make sure I'm in focus here. And if you use rolling adhesive, like Snail, we sell at Stampin' Up! This really good rolling adhesive called Snail. We also sell what's called tear and tape. Tear and tape is fantastic for holding boxes together. You just tape the little flaps, and it's a lot neater. But the reason I like using glue is because it's forgiving, and so you can wiggle until it dries permanently. You can sort of wiggle it and make sure you get everything exact. But tear and tape is probably the easiest thing to use. I'll demonstrate that sometime too. I'm sure we're going to be revisiting this template site again, but it's just that I happen to be working on it right now, and whatever I'm working on is what I'm making a tutorial on. And look how super cute this little box is. Now let's show you about putting things in the boxes, and I'm going to show you my other samples. So you have designer series paper. You get like 48 sheets in a pack, and the pack is like 11 or 11.50, I think, 11.50. Therefore, your boxes are going to cost you less than 25 cents each. Well, of course, I get a Stampin' Up! Discount because I'm a demonstrator, and you would also have to pay like maybe shipping. But anyway, okay, so a little more than 25 cents a piece. But seriously, how cute are these boxes? They're great to have, and they're little gift boxes. All right, so let's show you some more from the template maker. Okay, these are all made with, everything I'm going to show you is created with the Night Before Christmas Designer Series paper. And I hope I have the right kind of lighting there. So first we showed you this little box, and I made it's called like a thumb hole. So I made that one 1/2 inch. That way you can open it. So that's what a 1/2 inch thumb hole looks like. And then I have some with ribbons and some without. And just to give you ideas of what to put inside. So you have this little Santa sleigh. And then I put little tiny M&Ms. Now I have the bag here to show you these because these were fun to find in the store. They are called, of course 2 just fell out, so I have to eat them while I'm filming. Can't help it. 2 fell out. They're called baking bits. M&M baking bits. And I put them into 2-inch bags that I cut down. And I put a little sticker on the bag from the Memories and More Designer Series, or the Memories and More card pack that coordinates, and I just stuck them in there. Okay, and you can sort of form them inside the box, so that's kind of fun. Other things you could put in the boxes are these little, I got this little Hershey miniature assortment. So these fit in here really well. So let me show you that. So you could put in a bunch of little Hershey miniatures. And you know how I have little Hershey miniatures. You know I've talked about that before. So you could put a few of those in there. Let's dump those out. How about some little Reese's peanut butter cups? Okay, 3 of those. Of course, I would do this. Let me put a red one in there. This is how I roll. I put the little colors. Okay, so 3 Reese's peanut butter cups. I mean, how cute are these treat boxes? I have other ideas. Okay, so here's one with the coffee paper. I just got to put some color in there. And I wrap this in what's called braided linen trim. It's this linen trim we have by ScanNCut. It coordinates with anything, and it frays at the end, which I love. You could sort of tie it up, the braided linen trim, and then you can fray it, and it looks really cool. And it went really good with the coffee and cookies paper from the night before Christmas. And in this case, I just dumped some Mentos right in there. So, and this isn't even a whole pack of Mentos. I just dumped them right into the box. How fun is that? Okay, so there's just loads of ideas. You can put the Hershey Kisses in here. I mean, you can put all kinds of little treats. And how fun is that to give to your gas station attendant, your waiter, your hairdresser, your mailman, when you give the mailman a tip too, I hope. All right, what else do we have? So this one's just that little paper with the little lights on it with some, this is called Sahara Sand and Night of Navy. This is from our annual catalog. It's some kind of linen or twine. It's called baker's twine. That's what it's called. Night of Navy and Sahara Sand baker's twine, because those colors coordinated. And we already said this is braided linen trim. And this one is called the Pretty Peacock reversible ribbon. That is gorgeous ribbon. It's Pretty Peacock, and see, Pretty Peacock on one side and Old Olive on the other side, and it's shiny ribbon. So I love that ribbon. Okay, so that's the little box. Now I'm done showing you this style of box. I mean, not this style of box. This using the Night Before Christmas Designer Series paper. But that's not all. I need to show you how you can take a 12 by 12 piece of paper, and I'm going to follow up with the tutorial I did the other day. Remember I did the other day, maybe a week ago, I showed you how to make these tags with your ScanNCut using the Let It Snow Designer Series paper. So these little tags, super adorable. I showed how to cut these with your ScanNCut. Be sure to check out that video. This is called Let It Snow Designer Series paper. I'm just going to take the tags off. And this is called Glittered Organdy Ribbon, because look at all the glitter in it. And it matches the glitter box. Now you take this same, now we're in this tutorial. I just showed you how to make gift boxes. And there's a little bit of glitter getting everywhere. Gift boxes using the template maker. All you need to do now is use a bigger piece of paper, and you can make a giant gift box. And you can fit better stuff in it like these. I put a whole bag of my husband's favorite. These are from the Dollar Tree, Red Hots cinnamon candy. And you bend them up, the Red Hots. I mean, look at all the stuff you could put in there. I even have some K-cups you could put. He doesn't drink coffee, but I'm saying you could put for other people in here. And I have a different style of box for that in a minute. But I mean, you could put all kinds of stuff in it if you're using a 12 by 12 piece of paper. And that's the exact same box I just showed you how to make. I just made this one bigger. And last but not least, using the template maker again, because I love messing with the template maker. Now this was experimental because I tried to use, this one's called the gift box with lid. This one's just called the gift box template, this one here. Gift box template. But then I did some more experimentation with the Night Before Christmas Designer Series paper, and I was trying to make gift box and lids. And using the default settings, my lids were just like huge. Look at these lids. The first lids I did were huge. They didn't even look like lids. They're just wobbly and they're too big. And they were too long. So then I made them at the end. This is what I came up with, and I love how it came out with like sort of an inch long lid and with less of a clearance. And the lid fits tightly on, and I made a box. This is called Gift Box and Lid Template, a box which will fit a miniature, or not miniature, 1 Keurig coffee, 1 K-cup. Oh, and how cool is the inside of this box? Check out the inside of this box. You have the reindeer inside there. How fun. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. Because when you take the K-cup out to have a cup of coffee, you're like, oh, cool, a nice reindeer inside the box. That's what double-sided paper does for people. It's like the really fun things. And let's see what I put in here. Another K-cup, another Designer Series paper. One side's going to be right side up, of course, but the other side will be, when you fold it up, it'll be upside down. The Christmas tree pattern, for that reason, I don't use it as much, whereas the lights go in any old way. And what's this one? Another K-cup. So these are just boxes I made using the gift box and lids template, and I did a lot of experimentation to get those to fit. And I just wanted to show you that you could put other things in there too, other kinds of candies. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on using the template maker. And thank you all for watching. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel, and please go make some boxes and give them out to everybody this Christmas season. They will love it. Thank you. Bye.